All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is again the third Thursday, and like we do every week, we're going to say thank you to those that are on time, but understanding that there is definitely technical difficulties to be had with the software. So we're going to give everybody a minute or two to uh, to get logged in, to finish up those calls, those last minute calls that they were doing right before the session began. So we'll start properly at basically 3:02 p.m. Eastern. But Andrew, Jennifer, thank you guys for joining us thus far. Looking for a great session today, and hang tight. We'll be starting in just a minute. And I never go too far without that, Chris.
Nice. I like it.
It's right. I keep it literally right here on my desk all the time.
I've got another one for you, but I don't see it, unfortunately.
Uh,
Got the shred box ones out now. Here we go.
oh, let me see that.
Let me get it out of a nice bag.
Nice. Yeah. So I,
Do you have
I
a,
need I definitely need a matching coin.
do you have a
Nice.
chip clip there? Do you have a chip clip?
No, I don't.
Oh, no
I
chip
do.
clips. All right, everybody. Yeah, we're gonna get started here in just a minute. Just hold on tight. Again, we're giving some people some time to get on because of, and we know there's technical issues that people have, and there's Robbie. Welcome in. Uh, Again, when we get started, oh, here it is. It is 3:02 p.m. Eastern time, so we're gonna get moving. Welcome again to another session of Terra Third Thursday webinars. Uh, Typically we have like our allied members do these conversations with us, but we're very excited today to have one of our certified folks, that being a C2 management in the nearby the DC area. So we're happy to have these guys be our hosts this month. They've got some exciting technologies and things to talk about. But before I turn the presentation over to them, uh, I need to do a couple of things. One is I need to get over here and put the presentation back in the order in which it belongs. We were talking right up to the last and forgot to do that. So move that real quick. But before we get started, everybody that is attending today is in listen only mode. So please use the chat feature, use uh, the question feature, part of the application. If you've got questions, again, I'll be moderating this and asking questions along the way. But if anything specific comes up, please raise your hand. Um, this is a lot of you folks have been on these sessions before. You know how they go. We try to be in and out pretty quick. It's a 45-minute session, so we'll keep things moving. But again, lastly, before I turn it over to our friends here, is I just wanted to thank and recognize and acknowledge our renewing members and our new members for the month. So on our certified side, I'm pleased to announce that we've got some renewals. The Blind Center of Nevada, Minnesota Tech for Success, two of our nonprofits that are R2B3, part of our organization. SunTech Recycle, and Elgin Recycling in the Chicagoland area, which is actually also one of our Done With It sponsors and partners, just like C2 Management. And then we have a new certified member to announce, R2V3 in United Arab Emirates, Rapid Solutions International. So it's hard to believe we now have grown to 115 certified facilities, either E2 or R Stewards certified, in 12 countries. 25% of our total membership facility base is now overseas. So we continue to grow, and we thank all of you for being part of that. So today, as I mentioned, we have our friends with C2 Management, Chris Hansen and Wally Greeves, and they are going to be talking about developing strategic partnerships in entrepreneurship, targeted specialization, and conference strategies, as well as sharing some interesting technology that they've developed. So, guys, I turn it over to you.
All right. I'm Wally Greaves with C2. Steve, do you want to turn the page?
I can turn the page.
So I'm going to go through a little bit about what we're going to talk about. Also wanted to make the point that we want to be very conversational and informative, and so if you have questions, please make sure to ask them. I mean, we didn't have a whole lot of time to practice this, and we're looking forward to just having a nice conversation and bringing out some topics that had meaning to us and maybe hopefully to you too. Also want to encourage anybody that sees anything here that wants to talk to us about it to please give me or Chris a call, and we'll make that clear about a couple different things if you want to do that. But so our agenda, we'll go through and just quickly introduce ourselves. We're going to talk a little bit about our entrepreneurial spirit as a company. Chris, our CEO, has done a great job with it. We wrote our own software for the company that's been instrumental in how we've been able to grow the company. So I think he'll talk a little bit about that. We just unveiled a new invention, a shred box. So we'll show you a video about that as well. We unveiled that at Data Center World 2024. We've got a video to show you there, and we it might seem a little disjointed. We're starting with that, but that's been the most recent thing we did. So we kind of wanted to share that with you first. We'll talk a little bit about some possible partnerships and some interest we've got there, just to kind of let you know where we're headed with that product. We'll talk a little bit about our oddball equipment history and how that has brought us to a place where we're profiting off of specialty equipment, partnering with other recyclers and things like that. Our company has turned it probably maybe now set Chris 75% of our equipment is specialty equipment because of relationships that we've developed with other recyclers, and because of the fact that we've been certified to Appendix D under R2V3. So that's become a really important part of our business plan. So we wanted to make sure to talk a little bit about that. And also the history of our company has really been based in auctions and a lot of things that Chris has done and we'll talk about. But because of that, we've never had a real need for outbound sales or to go to conferences because we haven't had that kind of business plan. And so that's a relatively new thing for us. So we thought we'd share, especially in a venue like this where a lot of you guys go to conferences, and we're always interested in finding out if conferences are useful for other people. And so we want to share what's been useful for us and some of the strategies that we're excited about. And lastly, we want to make really clear how transparent of a company we are aiming to be. Like, we really strongly believe that there's enough vacancy in the industry for everyone. So we have no problem sharing all about us, and we'll tell you a little bit about. We've got some exciting visits coming up, some other recyclers and Terra members actually coming to visit us. We've had a bunch visit us, and we'll invite you to do that too. And we'd love to share what we're doing with you on a more personal basis and hear more about you. And we'll talk a little bit about that too. With that, I want to introduce, I'm a community and industry liaison, a business development, a sales guy, a lot of different things.
Wally does it
really,
all, and a great person to have on your side when you're trying to slim down.
Oh, nice. Steve and I have
My
been,
accountability partner.
yeah, we've both lost probably, I don't want to go into weight loss thing, but probably 25 pounds in the last 3.5 months. And that's been a lot of fun, but the the relationship has been a lot of fun. And I'll actually talk a little bit about how Steve and I met, which is funny too. But I met Chris about 4 years ago, and I really have a lot of respect for him and the company that he built. So I was really happy to have him invite me to work at C2, and I really enjoy it a lot. So I'm looking forward to hearing him talk a little bit about the history, and once again want to make very interactive. If you have any questions, just yell them out, or however you do it on here. But anyway, I want to introduce Chris, our CEO and founder, and take it away.
Hey guys, I'm Chris, CEO and founder. C2, we're going to turn the page.
Yeah.
Great, you're on the right thing. Oh yeah, so I'm the chunkier guy on the right side. Always the nice trim guy on the left side, and then that's one of my key guys, Eric, on the left side. Been around since 1998. We're located in Northern Virginia. Have a pretty big footprint, and some of the stuff we'll reiterate as we go along. but focused mostly on specialty equipment right now. We do some ITAD. We're very close to the mecca of data centers in Ashburn, Virginia. However, I started the business in Norfolk, and we'll talk about that later, buying government surplus and see how that's transformed. But we're going to kick it off here real quick. I'm going to share with you an idea that I had about 10 years ago that's finally coming to fruition, and that's Shredbox. For any of you guys that do municipal recycling, we actually don't do much municipal recycling anymore because we determined that there's people that do it better than we do it. And, we weren't the best with running a shredder and things like that. So we decided to get out of that business. But with that said, we did local recycling events for a period of years, and people would come and always ask us what to do with our shred drives, our hard drives. And so we started bringing our shred truck and shredding them on site, and we would charge them to do that, and they would gladly pay. We also found that a lot of MSPs, managed service providers locally, may have 10, 15, 20 hard drives they wanted destroyed, and it never makes sense for us to deploy the truck. And maybe, unless they're pretty local to us, it doesn't make sense for them to come and destroy those with us. So we thought about Shredbox actually over 10 years ago. It was in 2011 when we first had the idea, but we finally found a contract manufacturer to design and manufacture the machine. And our initial idea, which we'll elaborate on throughout the presentation, was to put this in front of retail chains and, like your computer stores, electronic stores, office supply stores. People could come and destroy their hard drive. You can pay with a credit card, various different ways of authentication. And what Wally will get into later is, as we launch the data center world, there's a huge demand in other areas that we found. And I'm sure all of you on the call and other people that we'll meet in the coming months or year will definitely find some more uses that we haven't thought about yet. But the idea ultimately is to provide secure on-site destruction without having to deploy a truck. And then that will be serviced by ourselves and fellow R2V3 recyclers. And it provides the customer with that instant chain of custody. And the machine is hooked up to a web. So the customer, the recycler, and Shredbox, we can all keep track of what's going on, what's happened through the machine, the health of the machine, stuff like that. So just want to introduce.
Video. Are you ready for the video? Because
Sure.
I'm chomping at the bit. I've seen it, but I know it's great stuff.
Okay,
I know.
go ahead.
So let's share this. And here it is. I love this thing.
Introducing Shredbox, the advanced solution for secure on-premise data destruction. This demonstration highlights the effectiveness and reliability of Shredbox for hard drive disposal. Observe the Shredbox unit. Its design is the epitome of professional-grade security, blending robust functionality with operational simplicity. Engineered for both reliability and ease of use, it's the ideal choice for responsible data destruction. Whether you service large volume data centers or retail locations, Shredbox can meet those needs. Interaction with the system is streamlined for professional use, yet easy for the new user. Authenticate swiftly and securely with a card payment or a preferred authentication method. The user interface is designed for efficiency, facilitating a quick and secure operation. Insert your hard drive into the Shredbox. Witness as it employs powerful destruction technology to securely and irreversibly destroy the drive, transforming it into recyclable materials in a matter of seconds. Upon completion, the system issues an immediate certificate of destruction, providing official documentation of your secure data disposal. This can include an image, make, model, and serial number for each device destroyed. Additionally, customers can provide contact info to track their destruction and request additional services from the servicing recycler. Advertise your services on the screen. Destroyed drives are dropped into a secure storage bin, ensuring safekeeping until they are collected by certified recyclers. Shredbox represents the pinnacle of public data destruction technology, offering uncompromised security and efficiency. Let's crush it together.
So awesome.
Nice.
It's so good.
Yeah, thank you for that. And so all y'all know that out there, that was the actual demo unit in blue. The actual unit, as you see there, will come in green, sort of like Henry Ford. You can get any color you want as long as it's green. So But yeah, we've had tremendous feedback, and I'm sure we'll be updating the marketing materials and videos about that. But yeah, really excited to get that on marketplace. So,
Probably the next page.
Yeah, there we go.
Wally, were you going to take this one? You still want me to all this
Oh,
one?
I'm happy to. I mean, these are some of the different people that we've been approached by and have talked to about Shredbox so far, and the reception has been fantastic. Everybody's shown lots of interest. I mean, and that's different than somebody saying, writing a check saying, give me 30 of those. But those kind of conversations have taken place too, which has been really exciting. And so when we went to Data Center 24, we had in mind all of these sort of uses and we're looking for sort of feedback along those lines. And what we ended up getting was feedback from and specific interest from some Fortune 500 companies, and it came. And I'm sure that we're going to see a lot of interest and some possibilities for all of the things that are listed here, but specifically we got interest from Fortune 500 companies as part of a two-step process. So overseas and some national data centers were interested in this product because it would allow them to, number one, if they're not allowed to shred inside the actual data center, then this keeps it clean. So this doesn't cause some of the debris that maybe shredding would inside a data center. So we got that comment very specifically and a lot. The other one was that this was viewed as extremely uh, could be extremely beneficial to these Fortune 500 clients for the hard drives that they have laying around in their data centers or co-location facilities, and that they add up. I mean, and I'm sure you do at your company too. Everybody has hard drives sitting around, but the security, the feelings about the security of those just sitting around and how long they sat around made this a very appealing prospect to these companies, and that we weren't expecting that. And that was a very specific interest that was shared by two or three different companies, that weren't affiliated with each other. So that we found that really interesting, and both of those expressed possibilities of some large orders. So that was really fun for us. When it says we're available for creative partnerships, I think we're being really. I mean, one of the nice things about working with Chris has been the creativity about partnerships. So whatever it comes to, like if somebody was interested in Shredbox and wanted to make them, I'm trying to think of a really weird color, but whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. Or if you were interested in leasing them, or if you're interested in purchasing them, but then wanted somebody to service them, or I mean, there's a lot of different structures that a partnership with Shredbox could take place. And since we just showed up at Data Center World with the prototype and got all this feedback, we're right at the beginning of this, and that's why we wanted to show it to you today. So if you have an interesting idea for how you may work with this or want to partner with us on it in some way, then reach out to us, because these conversations are really valuable for us, especially as we're definitely manufacturing units right now based on the interest, but we can certainly take this in different directions based on the interest we get.
And you can
Yeah.
see this is. I mean, when I first heard about you guys working coming down this direction about a year or so ago, I mean, my thought was, instantly the kind of that retail environment, a bank for their customers, an insurance company, legal law firms need this. But I can imagine any certified recycler deploying this at one of their major clients just to have something on site that kind of constantly branded, constantly reminding them that they're their partner, provides an opportunity for their employees to be able to destroy this stuff, securely and sustainably. I think the possibilities here with this thing are endless. It's just, I think
Es-
it's based on
especially for
creativity.
especially for other recyclers, large corporate clients, this is an outstanding advertising opportunity. I mean, if you had this in there and it's branded with your name all over it, then that's a great reminder, and probably an inroads into lots of other work with them as well. So it's a good advertising
Yeah.
vehicle as well.
I want to just speak as an actual recycler for a second. R2V3. One thing that was surprising for me, because any of you that shred out there, I can remember doing a couple of shred jobs, and the guys were like, "Well, you don't shred small enough," or this type of thing. So I was wondering how it would be received that it doesn't in fact shred, it does a crush, basically makes a taco out of the hard drive. And those Fortune 500s that talked to us and had interest in significant units were not disinterested in shredding still. They still wanted shred capability to come by their data center and shred the drives after this. They just wanted that in between component to make sure the drive is destroyed and no one's thinking about taking that drive outside the facility. So I was that was surprising to me, and just an avenue that opened up. And it looks like it will probably be a big avenue, and everybody that's shredding will still shred those drives.
And then because it's green, it could be like the Hulk and smash.
You're right.
All right, next slide. I think, Chris, you talk a little bit about some of the oddball, how we got started out with some oddball equipment, and I'll segue into specialty.
Yeah, so I think this will be available, so you guys can look over this later. But started the company in 1998, buying stuff. I went to school in Norfolk, Virginia, which happens to be a huge Navy base, and I would buy equipment from DRMOs. And then when I left college around that time, started getting into school stuff here in Northern Virginia, the GSA type things. And, I was fortunate enough to meet my beautiful wife in 2001 and really took off from there. By 2006, we became the largest sellers in the business industrial category on eBay. And at the time, that's where List App sort of comes in, because there was a lot of software available for eBay, probably 3 to 6 main softwares that are available for companies depending on how they did things, but none of them really fit the type of equipment we were dealing with. We were doing computers and stuff like that a little bit, but we were still doing a lot of lab medical test, oddball stuff that the government would get in, and that was sort of our niche. And so List App started very basic, only because I couldn't find a piece of software that really worked for us. Most of the software was widgets in, widgets out. And I have, had a bunch of different government auctions that I went to, not necessarily clients at the time. I was buying, trying to track the stuff, wanted to see how much money we're making on each different auction site that I was going to. So it started very basic with integration to eBay. 2008 happened. While my wife was away on a mission trip, I bought a huge property, and also was in the throes of software development. So by 2013, things were a little crazy, and the auctions had basically gone away in 2008. So it was not just the economy of 2008, it was a lot of different things that happened in 2008. And so we ended up going, my wife and I, to a dinner on Capitol Hill, thinking that I was going to meet some government people that would really change the rules on how the government gets rid of their excess property. So it didn't have to be as competitive, a little more fair on the sales side for recyclers, because I don't know if any of you recycle for the government, but they require us to have certifications, do things a certain way, but then they just sell the equipment. It makes it hard to be competitive. So at that dinner, we met some guys with one of the 800-pound gorilla auction companies in the country. They bought up pretty much everybody. They had a component. We exchanged niceties. They had a component of their contract that was special equipment that they didn't have a super great outlet for, number one. And number two, come to find out, they got a bonus kick on their contract for having a small business involved. So we got a huge contract, went from a 10,000 square foot warehouse to 137,000 square foot warehouse in a matter of months. Around that time, we had been R2 certified for a few years, and we've been on top of R2 certification ever since. And over those years, there's been a few ups, few downs. The idea of Shredbox, ideas of a lot of things. But now we've gotten much more out of auctions. As Wally said before, about 70% of our material now comes from other recyclers. A little bit comes from dealers, auctioneers, people you saw on that slide. But that's sort of ironic too, how that happened, because I remember making an impression on people around me, the guys working for us, my wife, everybody saying, hey, I don't want to put advertising on my truck because I don't want anybody to know what we're doing, this and that. And that's completely changed to where now we're an open book. And any recycler that wants to come and walk through our facility and see how we do things, we're open to it. We're open to have anybody in anytime. That brought us to R2V3. And what's wild is in 2020, we had launched our version 3 of ListApp. We were sort of seeing the R2V3, developing, and then the Appendix D came out. And our software addresses Appendix D very, very well. As, from walking our techs through testing equipment and recording what we did to test that equipment, all the way through to sales, full shipping integration, full CRM on the front side. It's pretty cool, how we've been able to become efficient at that. So a lot of people that are really big into ITAD, we end up with a lot of medical tests and stuff you can't even name coming through all the time. I've been doing this for 26 years now, and I still see new stuff that I've never seen before come in on almost a daily basis.
Now, having visited your guys' facility, it was large, it was so well laid out, it was so efficient, and then to see your brain at work, some of the things that you've added in there, like your own software you developed, you got your own side businesses, and then just talk about that little lazy Susan that you built of the camera system. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, and to be fair, that's still in the works, but
Oh,
it's basically like camera, because we always try to figure out how to make things more efficient. And one of the things that we find, and this is particularly in listing stuff for web sale, right now, probably only about 25% of our business is still on eBay, but it's still a large volume on eBay. So we have to take pictures of all that stuff and, try to get it right. We broke our process down into a multi-step process to try to increase quality. But getting into the photo part of it, and we have this set up, I'm itching to deploy it company wide, but basically where they put a piece of equipment on the table and it has cameras that go around and take pictures of the items. It's almost like there are some commercial versions of it, but we've sort of taken it a step further in what it will do for us with multi cameras too, to get the top and the side, because we want to try to take, that's the thing, like with ITAD, it's much easier to get an established process. With this specialty equipment, it gets a little harder, and we really work hard to make it a process as close to ITAD as possible for oddball equipment.
yeah, it's very
Maybe
cool.
next slide. Okay, I can jump in and talk about this a little bit. The specialty equipment partnering, like we've got auctioneers, dealers, government, but I think really the stuff that I want to talk about today really is the partnering with recyclers, because that's what's going to apply to everybody here. But we had a great meeting the other day with Roger Greeves at Sari, and we've been really open about wanting to talk about this process that Appendix D has become a part of our business plan. And what's cool about that is that when we go to some of these conferences now, and I'll hit on some of these in a minute, but when we go to some of these conferences, we're there and happy to attract customers that you might meet there and everything else. But the interesting thing we can do is go talk to every other recycler at the show. Like when we go to an e-scrap, like now we can go talk to every other recycler and say, hey, listen, do you have specialty equipment? Do you have medical equipment? We do a lot of medical equipment. Do you have lab testing equipment, industrial assets? Any kind of specialty or oddball equipment that you come up with. And there's so many times that the answer is yes. And a lot of times it's almost everybody that runs across that equipment, but there's only so many people, I guess, that cross the threshold that it makes sense to partner with somebody else to try to dispose of it. But we're finding them, and that's really exciting, because in that business plan, like no one else at that show cares how many other recyclers we partner with. I mean, we're profit sharing for this. I mean, and again, we're creative, so we can set up individual deals with every recycler, however we want to set it up that makes sense. it is, and one recycler is not going to care if we're dealing with another recycler or if we're just profit sharing. So if we're good at what we do, it allows them to be good at what they do. And that's what we're really trying to achieve, is that being able to just go down the line. And what happened to our presentation?
Right, apparently some technical difficulties there. Just automatically came back.
No, I mean, I kept the hard copy just in case, but that's really exciting for us, and it makes it possible for us to, like, we went to eScrap down in New Orleans like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, and it was really exciting. I mean, because it gives us an opportunity. I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation that with some of this change in business plan, there's a focus on outbound sales that C2 has never really had. So it's really exciting and fun for us to go down and meet some of these people and develop some of these relationships. And I remember one night we went out to Mr. B's Bistro in New Orleans, and we had 9 guys there. Steve was one of them, and we were happy. We bought dinner for everybody and said, "Hey, we're gonna do business with everybody at this table." And we invited people that were at least closely, somewhat close and related to what we're doing, and with the idea that, finding people that you like that you can do business with, and because if you're closely enough related, then you'll find some common link and be able to do some work together. And we've worked with most of the people that were at that dinner. A couple months later, actually, one of the guys at dinner called me and said, "Hey, I've got this load of medical equipment. I'm not really sure what to do with it. It's not a huge deal, but it's big enough so it needs some attention." And he sent it to us, and we bought him some dinner for it. I mean, it's not so it just had going out to that dinner paid off. We've done business with plenty of other people at that dinner, and that's a really exciting new part of our plan, is just to partner with as many recyclers as we can.
And that's really at the heart of Terra too. It's like that's what we're trying to accomplish. Everybody, there's enough equipment out there, there's enough material. It just becomes distance and logistics that gets in the way. If you let your ego go, if you can be open and transparent and let people in the door and look behind your skirt a little bit and see what you might be able to do together to build business, there's so much opportunity out there.
On that note, I thought it would be fun to tell the story of how I met Steve, because it's a fun story. Like, it was right at the beginning of COVID. They had the virtual eScrap conference, and I was new in this industry, um, and I had told Chris, I was like, well, I'm just going to get my feet wet. I'm going to go to this virtual eScrap conference, and I'm going to go to every person's booth. And so I just bounced in and out of every person's booth. And I started the conversation with each booth saying, "Hey, listen, I'm a newbie to the environment here. So, I mean, if you have someone more important to talk to, then you definitely want to go talk to them." And so I showed up at at Terra booth and said that, and he said, "No, man, I'm happy to talk to you about the industry." And we ended up talking for about a half an hour, and Steve really took the time with me to explain a lot of things. And I mean, we've since become really good friends, and I enjoy his company a good deal. But I always appreciated that at the beginning of that. And because of that, we joined Terra. And because we've joined Terra, we've met a lot. We've taken that note. I mean, we've called other people in Terra and just said, "Hey, let's do a Zoom phone call just to get to know you a little bit better, to see if there's some way that we can do business together." And we like doing things like that. So it's been a good relationship for us. So we have no problem. I'm happy to announce that the Terra conference that's going to be going on in the first quarter of next year, we're going to be a platinum sponsor for. We were the first sponsor for that. When Steve said he was going to do that, we were right there and said, "Hey, we'll definitely we'll sponsor that, no problem. We'll look forward to it." And we were happy to do that. We've been real happy with the relationship, and I actually have made a project. I actually planned on calling at some point. I was trying to do it before this conference, but we've been really busy. But I want to call every Terra member and just introduce ourselves and see if there's some way that we can do business together. And so I'm sort of putting that challenge out now on this, that I will do that, and I'll look forward to to
I'll
talking
be
to
your
a lot of you.
accountability buddy on that one too.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Yeah. But again, I can't say enough about how much we believe in that networking principle. Just and that it's kind of new to us in a lot of ways, but I'm sure a lot of you obviously have done a lot of networking. But for us, the way that we are doing it with this sort of Appendix D and is really interesting to us and fun. So we definitely look forward to meeting a bunch of you and other. That's really all I wanted to say about conferences. And the last slide there has some good things. Steve, we could go one more slide.
Sure.
Um, and uh, and we want to encourage you to create, network, share, explore, and focus, and do all of those things. But I think what we wanted to the point we were making is just that again the industry vacancies in that there's room for everybody. That's why we're not afraid to say how we do things, what we're doing, our exact business plan is because there's room for people to do what we're doing. I mean, and logistics will make more than one of us necessary across the country. So it's not. I mean, it's not like we're trying to corner the market or feel a need to. There is plenty of work for everybody, and we believe that being transparent is is leadership. And by doing that, we're being leaders and creating more relationships, and that it's only going to benefit us along with everybody else. The one thing I will focus on this slide, it says share your successes through stories and PR. Like, so we've started putting out PR as a result of this. So we put out press releases. We're going to put out a press release about being the first sponsor for the Terra conference. That'll come out next week. We'll make sure to send it to all of you. And we'll be sending out some other releases as well. But we're also happy to do, if we do some business with you or meet you or have a good meeting, we're happy to put out a release about that. We've done that before too. So we're excited about creating stories that are worth telling to other people and developing, best practices that we can all share with each other. And just happy that Steve invited us today and thanks.
Well, it's you guys are, you're great. I mean, you guys are one of our founding members. You've been with us for a long time, but this organization, Terra, is like any other organization. It is what you put into it, and you guys have put a lot of resources and time into connecting with fellow members, trying to do business with fellow members, and that's really kind of what it's all about. And this is a community that we're starting to build that is going to, over the long term, add return on investment to everybody that gets involved.
Correct,
We've got
Steve.
some,
One thing I did leave out is like even next week we've got two different recycling companies
yeah,
that are flying into town to tour our facility. We've got 2 days next week where we're doing nothing but hosting a couple of companies that just want to see how we're dealing with specialty equipment. So we're bringing them in from out of town, and we're looking forward to touring our facility and going out for a country lunch in Berryville, Virginia. And we would put that same thing out to everyone here. I mean, anybody that wants to get to know us a little bit better, we'd love to host you. Like, come see our facility, and we'll go out for a fun lunch.
and yeah, and I encourage everybody to have that same attitude because again, our allied members, we got some great folks that are in the logistics business that support our members all the time, and they're doing very well, and I wish them all the best. But there could be more profit had by everybody if you guys just shared a little bit of more material, a little bit more information, and partnered together a little bit more. And that's where we want to bring these and build these connections with people, either you know through things sessions like this, through the conference, through just people being a member and getting involved. So kudos to you guys for what you're doing. I love this new technology that you've put out, the shred box. I mean, you see the kiosks at grocery stores where you drop in your phone and it'll tell you how much value it has. There's nobody you can't walk up to that has ever owned a computer that doesn't have a hard drive sitting in their closet. We all got them. So to be able to provide places where people can go, consumers can go take this, they can get it destroyed, where you can have this on site with your clients. It's an amazing piece of technology. I'm glad to see that you have gotten over the finish line here and now are demoing this. Um, So yeah, you guys, I would just want to highlight as a thank you for being our partners, our founding, our one of our inner circle members of our conference, our first platinum sponsor. That's going to help us recruit more people to get involved. Yeah, this is a yeah, we're now 5 years old. We're kind of at that. It's time to really start growing, start bringing some more opportunities to our members. You guys are right there at the forefront of it, showing people how to do just that. So I thank you all for being our hosts today, for being our members as long as you have been, and for continuing your support of us. So just encourage everybody, if you want to take a tour of their facility, you want to talk shop with them, give them a holler, Chris or
Yeah.
Wally.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions or anything?
Yeah, anybody throwing out some last minute questions? Usually people get a little bit quiet, but we're coming up. We still got a little bit of time. I always like to be a little early, so if we do close things out early, that's just fine. But we'll give it open here for another minute or so for last minute questions. And I have to do one last shout out while people are constructing their questions and typing it in. As always, I live on swag. So as I showed, this is a nice little piece of swag I got from Chris and them early on. But I love this thing. This
Yeah.
is from the folks at Chip Sales. This is a 64-ounce water bottle that they sent me for Christmas, and I have loved this thing. With Wally and I's journey here of weight loss together, this has been an integral part of that journey. So I thank Chip Sales for continuing to send me some nice swag.
Wally,
That's
should
So
we
that's
tell them
any,
what our
that's
secret
not
is?
our. Go ahead.
Yeah. Chip clips. It's the way to go. Chip clips.
Yeah, so I was going to add in that that's not a piece of our swag, Steve. So we want to
no,
focus on ours, and we have chip clips, which we think are the best swag at shows. So we'll have those at all of our shows from now on. So come by, get a chip clip.
yeah, but you want me eating those carbs? I gotta stay away from those carbs.
Well, they're dog food bag clips too.
Oh yeah, the dog needs that. Well, all right, guys. Well, thanks for our attendees again. We'll be back at this next month. I do believe. See the next. The sessions are a little bit in flux here for the summer. We do have Karen Fader with Blanco still, I believe, but going to be branching out on her own here in the next few weeks if she already hasn't done it. She's going to be talking a little bit about her next adventure that has direct impact on everybody here. So we'll be looking to have her as our host either next month or in July. So, but keep your ears open, eyes open on the email, and you'll see some more information about our next session very soon, as well as our conference. So, again, thanks everybody for joining us this month, and we'll see you again next month on the third Thursday. Y'all take
All
care.
right. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chris. Thanks, Wally. Bye bye.
Okay.